They did it knowingly, and they did it against all policies and all norms that are acceptable and reasonable in this society. And again, in this society, that's what we call murder.
Tonight, the investigation into Mario Gonzalez's death in Alameda County is expanding. Some people are just outraged, saying police used excessive force, but now the attorney representing the officers is telling their story. Thank you for joining us on KRON 4 News at 5, everybody. I'm Grant Lotus.
And I'm Justine Waldman, in for Vicky tonight. 26-year-old Mario Gonzalez was killed after an encounter with police in Alameda last week. He was pinned face down on the ground for more than 5 minutes, and then he stopped breathing. There are now 5 separate investigations into what happened. Mario Gonzalez's family has hired an attorney to investigate. The attorney representing the 3 officers who were involved also now investigating. The city of Alameda has hired an outside agency to investigate, and the Alameda County District Attorney's Office as well as the Alameda Sheriff's Office have each launched separate investigations.
We also now know the names of the 3 officers involved. Eric McKinley, who's been on the force there for 3 years, Cameron Leahy, who's also been on the force for 3 years, and James Fisher, who has been an officer there for 10 years. All these officers involved are currently on paid leave. And we also now know the toxicology report will take at least 2 more months, so it may be some time before we know the exact cause of death.
The attorney representing the officers says they used proper de-escalation tactics. We'll hear more from them tonight during KRON 4 News in prime time, starting at 8. But right now, KRON 4's Suk Jagal talked to a criminal defense attorney today who says that the video shows the officers used excessive force.
South Bay criminal defense attorney Cody Salfin of the Salfin Law Firm says the Alameda Police Department's description of 26-year-old Mario Gonzalez's in-custody death as a medical emergency may be true, but Salfin says the emergency was caused by the officers involved, who he says used excessive, unreasonable, and unnecessary force.
We have 2 or more calls for service. We have citizens calling in more as a matter of concern for the individual than a matter of public safety risk.
Hey, bud. How's it going?
Salfin says Eric McKinley, the first officer to arrive at the park on Oak Street the morning of April 19th, initially showed restraint, but eventually lost patience with Gonzalez, who 911 callers reported was likely unarmed, though he appeared intoxicated and may have just committed a theft.
These officers, the most powerful tool that they have in their possession or at their will is their ability to talk someone down, to verbally de-escalate a situation. And these officers very quickly escalated to the physical use of force, which was absolutely unnecessary. They had time, they had distance, they had the benefit of not being in a crowded area where there would be a public safety risk, perhaps, if people were close. They could see Mr. Gonzalez, they could see that he didn't have a weapon, and all they needed to do was to give it time and to talk Mr. Gonzalez down or try to figure out what was going on.
Salfin has successfully settled federal civil rights cases of police misconduct, most recently with the city of Palo Alto and its police department. At least 1 officer in that case has been criminally charged. Salfin believes the officers in Mario Gonzalez's case should be prosecuted as well.
But for the police actually coming to the scene, Mr. Gonzalez probably would have just gone on his way, and he absolutely would have been alive still today. And that's a pretty good indication that the police used excessive and unreasonable and unnecessary force but for their actions, someone would still be living. And no one from the general public would have been injured.
For now, the 3 officers involved are on paid administrative leave, while multiple investigations into Gonzalez's death are conducted. Philippe Jagal, KRON 4 News.